Hi, in this video we're going to talk about article formatting. We will have a brief overview talking about pages and categories and the relationship between them. Then we will create an article and we will cover the three essential components of all articles. We will prepare some article text. We will go through some commonly used formatting tools, and last but not least we will save the article and see it appear in the page that we intended it for. What this video will not cover will be setting up links, inserting images and creating tables. Let's start. First thing we have to do is to log into the administration area. You will notice that we have those menu items available to us, but once we log in, we will be presented with some additional pages which is only accessible for the administrator. The page we're going to concentrate on would be the training page, and as you can see there are no articles yet on this page. We are going to create our first article. But before we talk about creating the article, I would like to just illustrate the relationship between menus or pages, categories and articles. Every page, if you look there, every one of those menu items leads to a page on the website. Pages are there to display articles or some sort of content. Some pages will display multiple articles, others will display only single articles. To be able to display multiple articles on a page, you have to use a category. So what you will be doing is you will be creating an article, relating it to a category, and the category in turn is related to a page. Every article for that specific category will be displayed on that page. Other pages you will find you do not need a category because the article as a single article is related directly to the page. So you do not need a category, but you do have to select uncategorized, so the system knows that it is uncategorized. There is a special case. The home page, which is the default page of the website when you first go into the website as a guest, will display featured articles. And every article that you mark as being a featured article will be displayed on the home page, which means that you can either have a single article, one featured article, or multiple featured articles for the home page. Mostly we only have a single featured article for this page, the home page. Right, let's put that away and start. What we want to do is we want to create a new article. We click on the menu item, creating a new article. The page for that article or for that menu item will be an article editor, which has got a little area that says save or cancel. It has a input field for a title. It has a further input field for article text or the body of the article. And if you go down further, it also have an input field or a select field where you can choose the article category. Now, just a point about an article category is simply this. If you choose uncategorized, you will not see your page anywhere, because if an article is uncategorized, it needs to be associated with a menu item as a single article. And of course, in that sense, you have to create the menu item first. So we don't have a menu item. Never use uncategorized when you create a new article, because you will not be able to retrieve it through a menu item. What we're going to do is we're going to create an article for our training page, which we will be able to access later through that menu item. So let's give it a title. Another point about a title: if it doesn't have a title, you won't be able to save your article. You will be given, if you click Save Now, it'll simply tell you that field required title. So you must have a title to be able to save an article. If I click on that little X now, then the message will disappear and we will be back where we were. You will notice that the training category is still effective. So let's give it a title. My first article. Now all we really need to do now is to type in some text and we have an article. If we save it now, we have an article. We're not going to do it though, because there's far more that we need to do to this article. For illustration of this, I am not going to type in any text. I will be copying and pasting some text. I have prepared some text already, as you can see there. Some Latin, just random Latin text. So all I have to do is I have to click on Edit, select all, selecting all the text, click on Edit again, copy, which places the text on my clipboard, and click in this area where I want to paste it. Now, you have three tools that you can use to paste text in. You can use paste, paste as plain text, paste from Word. Very simple. If you want to paste any text that you copied from Word, you use that tool. If you want to paste any text that you copied from anywhere else, you can either use paste or paste as plain text. I'm going to use paste as plain text because I want to format the text myself and not keep any formatting. So I click on the tool, I click on in the inside of that little box, you can see the blue line indicates that it's active, and I read the message. Please paste inside the following box using the keyboard. The only way to paste your text in is by using the keyboard. It says press the Control key and hold it down, then press the V key and click on OK, and your text will be there. So you press your Control key, hold it in, press your V key once, text is put into the box, click on OK, and text appears. Now the next thing I would do is I would simply run a spell check, read through your text, fix up all the spelling mistakes if you are that good, or you can use that tool, select all the text, use that tool which will pop up the spell checker for you, and the system will check your spelling for you. It will, in this box, highlight all the words in red or underlined. That will be the next word and the next word that will come up as being misspelled. And it will give you some suggestions that you can choose, and you can change to the chosen suggestion. In this specific case, I am not going to go through the spell checker because I'm dealing with Latin text and not English, as you can see there. Incidentally, you can change to many other languages as well. Of course, we will mostly use British English. I'm going to cancel the spell checker. The next thing I would do is I would just apply some formatting to the text, a font and a size for it. So you click on the little arrowhead, it'll give you a selection of styles or formatting that you can apply to your selected text. I normally use normal div for good reason, but this will only become apparent if you do some table, insert some tables and stuff, which we're not going to do in this video, but nevertheless I will choose normal div. I would choose a font of my liking. I like Vedana, and I will choose the size. I like 16 because it's nice and big. You can choose whatever you want. Right, there you have it. Text is formatted. Next I would do is I would sort out my paragraphs. I click where I want to break for a new paragraph. I press enter once and twice. Second time, of course, to create a blank line. I choose the next spot. I press once and twice the enter key. And I choose the next one. I press once and twice. I've got 4 paragraphs set up, and it looks very good at this stage. Right, you may decide at this point that this is good enough, save, and you've got your article there. But for the sake of this video, we will go through some more formatting of the text itself and not the document as a whole. If I would, for instance, highlight those few words, click on bold, it'll bold my text, and it'll stand out quite neatly. I can, of course, decide to highlight those text, click on italics, and I would have an italic font. Doesn't stand out very clearly really, but I can underline at the same time. Stands out a little bit better at the moment. I can choose to make those 2 paragraphs a bulleted list. I click on my bulleted list tool, and you will immediately see that it applied bullets to the left, and it indented it slightly to the right. Of course, unfortunately, I am now sitting there with a blank line and a bullet, which doesn't look really neat, and I didn't intend to get rid of that. I click in the line, press my backspace button, and the bullet and the blank line disappears. Unfortunately, the blank line also disappears, and I do want a blank line. To overcome that problem, I will, at that point where I am now, I will press the shift key as if I wanted to type capitals, press my enter key once. It'll insert my blank line, this time without a bullet. You can do this, of course, in Word, Microsoft Word as well. Of course, I can change all that to a numbered list if I want as well, quite easily. If I decide that, that's indentation is not really deep enough to my liking, I can use the increase indentation tool to increase my indentation like that. Of course, if I increase it once more, it puts it in nice and deep. If I decide, oh, you know what, that is a little bit too deep, let's use the undo button and reverse the last action that we've just done. Of course, at the same time, we can use the redo button to redo the undo. But we don't want our indentation that deep, so we'll leave it at that. The next thing to illustrate is, of course, the text justification. You will see that we have 4 tools that where we can left justify, center justify, right justify, or block justify our text. That applies to any text that we select, and you can see as a default our text was block justified. If we select all our text again, we can decide to left justify it, click off it, and you will notice that the right hand edge is now ragged. We didn't like that. Block text looks much better, so we'll undo the last action, which was to left justify, and it'll place it back to block justification for us. You can do the same with center or right justify. You can play around with that for a bit. Right, at this point, if we decide that, okay, that is our article, let us put in one last line, and on that last line insert a horizontal line if we want to, of course, to denote that that is the end of our article. We can do that very easily. If we still want a blank space between that line and our text, we can put our cursor at the end of the text, press enter once, and create a blank line. Two more things to do. We can decide that the font color there is not really to our liking. We want to change that to a nice red font so it stands out a little bit more dynamically. Not dynamic enough, we can make it bold at the same time, and there you have it. You can decide, well, you know what, this is so important, I also want to underline it with some yellow color. And that is it. You can play around with these things. You can, for instance, give this a black background with a yellow foreground, and this is what you will have. So for this video, I think it's all the formatting that I want to illustrate. At this point, all we need to do now, just double check everything is there. The article title is there. We are going to save this into our training page, hence the category training that we chose. And all we are left to do is to press that button to save. We could also press that button to save if we wish, but we can choose any. We'll press that button and our article will be saved. You are presented with a message to say that the article is successfully submitted, but you are of course back into the home page. To see your article, incidentally, to remove that message if you want to, you can click on the little X and the message will disappear. But to see our saved article, we can go into the training area and we will find our first article listed on the page. If I click on the title, the article will appear and you will immediately recognize the article that we created. That is it for this video. All that's left to do for us now is to simply log out of our page, go back to the home page. You will notice that the menu items for the administrator disappeared, and this is the page as any guest will see it. That is all for this article. We will follow this up with some more demonstrations of some other formatting for articles. Bye.